All right. Can you introduce us to yourself and let us know what house you're in?
Cool. My name is Cody, but if you are in the Discord, and then you'll see it as Chewy Badger. Chewy is a nickname of mine. It's been like that for many of years, and of course, I am a Hufflepuff, so the Badger comes from
Yes.
that. So Chewy's Badger, Chewy Badger.
Are you a big Star Wars fan?
I am definitely a Star Wars fan. Definitely. Chewie never came from the Star Wars, which is kind of funny. It
Okay.
came from one of my coworkers years ago. Couldn't pronounce my last name really good, and he just kept calling me Chewy, 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 and it just kind of stuck. And
That's cool.
I liked it, so it's kind of cool. I use it for nicknames. I use it for my YouTube channel.
I love that.
So I have it all over the place. Yeah.
Ooh, you got to give a YouTube channel plug if you want. You don't have to I know, but if you want, that'd be sweet.
Well, yeah, I just started. I'm just starting to play board games, recording
Nice.
it. And as somebody who knows how to edit videos and make videos, I know the headache you have sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to do it. But yeah, I'm just trying to start off. So I got like 3 videos so far. I'm just trying to make more.
Yes, I
So
love that. You got to throw some of
yeah.
that stuff in the Discord because I would love to
Okay.
watch some of that content. I'd be definitely into that. And
I
I
will.
know I know a ton of people in our Discord are huge into board games too. Have you ever played Civ? This is
Nice.
like a whole side discussion before we get into Harry Potter.
That's fine. So I watch people, which is
Yeah,
funny. I used to watch them, and I just never really wanted to do it and get into it. And then
yeah,
as I grew older and got it, I was like, yeah, that's pretty. Why didn't I start?
yeah, yeah.
So.
Now, okay, can you before we even get into Harry Potter stuff, can you rank what your like nerddoms are? Like, what are you nerdiest about as far as series?
Ooh. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna move the camera real quick just so
Mm-hmm.
I can look down at you too. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, okay, so number one, Harry Potter. Harry Potter is my
Okay.
biggest nerdiest portion. I am a Star Wars fan.
Yes.
Um, let's see, I love board games. I'm a total nerd when it comes to board games
Yes.
and stuff like that. And I go to conventions and what I can. It's fun. Let's see, plenty of different types of movies, 80s movies, any kind of that stuff that I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go into plenty of different genres of different stuff. So, but I'd say big ones are going to be the Harry Potter stuff. So definitely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can you give me a little breakdown of when you first read Harry Potter and like when you started the series? What point in your life was it at? Give me the details on that.
Yeah. So I'm in my late 30s. So I started off, when they first came out. I think my mom got the first book with it. We were over at her house, 'cause my dad and mom are separated, and so we spent
Mm-hmm.
the night at my mom's house when we did, and she started reading the first one to us as a bedtime story, which is like I can read my own book, mom, but she wanted to read it because my brothers couldn't read at that time, so we started listening to it, and I got through it, and I was like, that's cool, I liked it, and I slowly got into it, as they came out, and I liked it, I kept going with it. It never really, I'd say, consumed my entire being at that time yet. I'll say again,
That was
yet.
coming.
Yes. So I went through, I loved it, and then I got the movies, and of course, with the movies, I'm able to watch them a lot. I wish I read a lot more. I just don't. I do a lot of
Yeah.
audiobooks, which is great, but
Oh, it's so good.
back then I just didn't read. So I read the books, and that was probably the only thing I ever read. Many of my book reports for high school were on them over and over and over. So
Yes.
I did the lazy thing. I was like, I used this one 2 years ago. I'll use it again, kind of thing. But then I got, graduated high school, got into the Navy, and then in the Navy kind of just started getting back into like, just always watching the movies. I was watching movies,
Mm-hmm.
became a Halloween and Christmas time frame thing.
Oh yeah.
And then about, I don't know, 6 years ago, I was like, just started reading them again. I was like, this is fun. Why didn't I read this before?
Yes.
And I got the audiobooks. I read the whole, or listened to the whole audiobook when, through it all. It was awesome. Um, and then did it again. And like in 2 years, I did like 3 or 4 different times, which was crazy. I just kept listening to him, kept reading to him, kept watching
Yes.
the movies, of course. And
Are you you're
then
a because you're American, you're a Jim Dale guy?
yeah, yes, I would love to listen to Stephen Fry's
Mm-hmm.
versions of it just because it's there. But you try to Google that, and
It's
I don't know how
impossible.
to.
It's so
Yeah,
ridiculous. It's like actually it makes me mad that they restrict it so the Americans can you can it's like so difficult to get a copy of Fry's audiobooks.
I want them just to put it on an audiobook, sell it on
Yeah.
you know Amazon UK. I will totally buy and ship it back here to the States.
I actually
So,
don't understand why they don't do that. It's like probably they'd probably double their money. I would definitely buy full
oh,
copies of that, you know?
oh, gotcha. I'd have both copies, and yes, I spent full copy on both ones. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
full price. So
Yeah, it
that was really it. That was it. And I found this Discord. I am a huge fan of Super Carlin Brothers.
yeah.
So listened to them, thought it was amazing. They all their theories. I got hooked on them, and that's really what drove the feeling of Harry Potter. And then I got into, and I know you're not a big fan of him, but Potterless.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is a guy who's never read it before. This is
Mhm.
crazy. And I was in Poland when I want to say I started listening to him. I was stationed over there in Poland. And I was like, this is crazy. And I read the books, like audiobook again,
Yeah.
like 3 times that year that I was stationed overseas for there. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I went the whole thing. And then I was like, God, there's got to be more people like this. That's where I found you. And I was
Yes.
like, this is awesome. Well, I found you about a year later,
Yeah.
but I got back to the States here, and I was like, God, I want to get back to that the whole like finding somebody again. So I found you, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's definitely differences. His has a lot of entertainment value to it. He like, you know, they're on there, they're like making fun of the series. It is very entertaining, it's fun. A lot shorter, a lot more like easy to listen to than ours, but I could
It,
talk about that one a long
his,
time.
his is good. He's got a good personality to like
Yeah.
grab the people that are
Yep.
different, because you kind of get that wanting to be mad at him because it's just
Yeah.
he's. However, I will let you know if you haven't finished it. By the of course the book 3, he's
Mhm.
hooked. His mind's changed. He's
Yep.
he's all over the place with it and stuff like that, and he's loving it. But yeah, I like yours because yours is just Danny. I mean, let's jump into this because we're gonna talk about this
Yeah.
now. And I talk fast, y'all. Sorry.
It's okay.
Um, Danny and Jen have been amazing,
Yeah.
right? I'm watching listening to all the podcasts, doing everything I could with it. And I'm just like, that's like, wow, they just guessed it. But
Yeah.
wait, what? The Horcruxes, everything.
It
And I was just like,
constantly blows my mind how close they got on everything that they're talking
well,
about.
so here's what's funny. I thought about that too. And in Podulus, he said at one time, he goes, like he guessed something. He's like, wait a minute, I'm a 29-year-old man reading a children's book. Of course, I'm going to guess this. Of
Yeah.
course, it's very predictable. So that's what I've been thinking about with Dan and Jen. That
Hmm.
they're adults.
Yeah.
This was written for us as children. They're reading it
Yeah.
as their first time as adults. So of course, they're like, I know it's going to come because it's a predictable thing sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Except for like Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah, agreed.
um,
There are some things. I feel like book 1 and book 2, like you can kind of predict some of the things that happen. Maybe
yeah,
not necessarily with book 2. Book 2 is like a bit more of a surprise. But there are
yeah,
some
yeah,
very
definitely.
predictable elements in these books. But at the same time, I love it because Danny just sits on theories for like weeks and he just thinks these things over and he's telling me like, oh yeah, I was like, thinking about what I could do with like fan fiction for this idea. I was like, Danny, you're not even finished with the series and you're already thinking about this kind of stuff. And he's so obsessed with it. He just thinks about this all the time. So like he's able to process and he's probably overthinking the theories. That's why Jen is great because some of her
Yeah.
is simplified. It's just like she's like cut through all that dumb stuff and like this is it. And she's nailing it all the time too. She's so good.
I love Jen when she just randomly throws in like something just
Yeah.
very quickly, very very quietly, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a prediction. Oh my gosh, I gotta write that one down.
Yep.
Let me get that one too. And then you just kind of like let it slide.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody picks up on it. Either Dan will be like, wait, what was that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no,
I know.
So
I'm
it's
I'm
pretty
like
cool.
on thin ice with some of the stuff that I have to do, especially in the end of the series. Like Jen is saying some stuff. Like one we just went over was who sent the dough, the silver dough,
Yes,
and
yes.
she just flat out was like, I think Snape did
Who?
it.
Well, she was like, what is Snape's Patronus?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like
and then
sweating when she
oh,
said that.
oh my gosh, oh no, go, oh no. And then they just went down the rabbit hole. It's like, oh, she's got it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I was
you try,
simultaneously terrified with that, but oh my gosh.
you try very hard a lot to try to push them the other way.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, no, no, interesting, interesting.
Yeah,
Why would you think
I
that? That's
know.
weird?
It was funny because like I definitely have tells with certain things. I'm like trying to ward off any tells that I have, but there's certain things that they talk about where I like throwing certain things in there that are like when they re-listen to the podcast, they're gonna be like one of my favorites was when we were talking about the one word. that Harry Potter fans always
Oh,
associated. I was like, I can't wait for them to listen to that and for them to be like, John, you're such a jerk. Why'd you do that to us? Yeah,
I I picked up on that one. I love
yeah,
that one. I was
yeah,
like, I think I threw it in the Discord, not in
yeah,
the Hall of Prophecy section,
yeah.
but I did throw them into the other ones, like season one. I was like, "You're funny, John. That's funny."
Yeah. It's just entertaining to do that kind of stuff. I love it. But every
You,
once
you,
in a
you
while they'll say it and I'll like have to steer them in a different direction because I'm I'm either scared that I'm going to slip up with something or like they're just so close. I do like even I was actually it was nice. So when I was doing this, I remember when we were right before the end of book 6. I remember I threw a question out in our Discord or on Reddit or something like that, and I was like, how far should I steer them in their hatred of Snape? Because at one point I thought that it didn't even matter if Snape had killed Dumbledore, that they would still, that Jen in particular, which she kind of is doing at the moment, she would still think that Snape is good and still really love him and like want him to like be good and still think that he's good. And I was like, how far do I push it and say that no, he's evil, he killed Dumbledore? And we had like a slight debate on it, and essentially I didn't have to do any of the work because as soon as that happened, Danny pretty much convinced Jen that Snape is evil and that we should hate Snape, and Danny did all the heavy lifting for me. It was great.
that works out then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a kudo. This is your praise. This is your thing for right
There you
now.
go.
You are phenomenal at jumping in right at the right moments, and taking a topic and either coming up with some random question that you want to steer them the
Yeah.
right way or steer them the wrong way. I'd be like, I would give it away. I'd be like, oh no,
Yeah.
look, I got to think of something, you know. So
There
you're you're
there's yeah, there's
you're
been
perfect.
a lot of times when I've like tried to steer the conversation in a way and I've realized I've gone a little too far, so I have to backtrack and like completely rethink of a new question in my mind. And yeah, I've definitely done that a few times. People could probably notice some of them that I do in the task. Oh, like I think the last one we were talking about. I forgot what we were talking about, but I stopped Danny and I was like, hold on. Oh no, we were talking about Horcruxes versus Hallows. In the next
Oh yes,
chapter, essentially like what happens is Harry picks Horcruxes, and I'm like, it's such a or he picks Horcruxes. It's like such an important part in the book. And I was like, what did Dumbledore? Did he give him more information on Horcruxes or
you
Hallows?
did.
And
Yep.
Danny's like, maybe Hallows. And I was like, hold on, what? Where is this coming from? But I guess from his point of view, it makes sense. But in my head, I was like, I can't say that. I got to redirect the conversation to something else. And I tried to do it, but I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, it's good. I like it, and I like it when they have such a craziness that
Yeah.
their theories are they're not wrong, they're not
Yeah.
right at all, but they're just so awesome to hear them talk
Yeah,
about it, you
for
know. I'm like,
sure.
that's pretty good. So yeah.
Now,
Um,
can you rank the books for me? What would you do
uh,
as a ranking for all the
yes,
books?
I will. Actually, I wrote this down because I figured this one was going to come up.
Yes, this is a tough
So let me,
question.
yes, and go to my list. So yeah, so my books in ranking uh, is Prisoner of Azkaban. I think the book is just a phenomenal one. That's the one that got me. That's the
Okay.
one that helped me on there. I'm again, my mom read the first one. I think my mom read the second one.
Mm-hmm.
That third one I'd read, and then I started back over with one, two, and
Yeah, yeah.
three. Oh my god, I want to read three again. So I did that. So three, one, Philosopher's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's the start of it all. It got everybody started.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah. Then six, seven, four, two, and five. And I know that's gonna make a lot of people mad.
Whoa. Okay.
I know. I know. I five is the one I have to. I find myself angry every time I read it
Yeah.
or listen to it. I'm just like, nope, I'm skipping. And there's been times I've listened to the whole series, and I've just skipped book five sometimes.
Book 5 is
Oh,
unbearable.
it is. It's good. It's a good write.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be mad at when I'm listening to it.
Yeah, I completely get that. Order of the Phoenix is one of my favorites because I think again, some of the writing that she has in that is extraordinary. How she's able to keep you hooked even though you are mad and you're like, I cannot wait for this character to get her own. Like
Yes.
she's the worst, but it's agony reading the fifth book. Every time I reread it, I love it, but it is agony rereading the fifth one.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I will. You called something one time the when it kind of like rubs people the wrong way. What did you call that? What some one of your other friends called it? one of the other hot talks called it that way.
Uh,
I have a, I, I have an opinion that's gonna really not like a lot of like make people happy.
okay.
So yeah, I don't like Snape. Like I
Yeah.
love Alan Rickman. I love
Okay.
Alan Rickman, but I do not like Snape in the books.
Okay.
And I don't. He will never be good for me. Uh, he he made fun of Hermione and her big teeth.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was a
I
jerk move.
He went overboard in that one. That was no way, shape, or form
Hmm.
I had to pretend to be bad. That's literally him being bad. So I was like, I just can't. I just can't. And so of course, reading through it, he kills Dumbledore. I got it. Okay, cool. Great. I saw the tears. But that's the thing is Alan Rickman makes you want to love him.
Yeah.
Uh, so as I grew up on the movies, most of the time I'm listening to movies. I'm like, Alan Rickman, this is amazing.
Yeah, I
Snape's
know.
amazing. But then getting back into the book, I'm just like, I don't like Snape because,
It is
gosh,
different.
yeah. And
That
then
that
they took it out of the movie, so you don't feel that, you don't see that, you
yeah,
only see the good side of everything.
I know.
So it's kind of like, oh, come on. So
And that's a tough thing too. Some of the adaptations that these characters have, like again, I Snape's everyone loves Snape. They think he did a great version of Snape, but book Snape is definitely meaner than Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman he's like just a great person, so I love him so much in that. That's definitely the perception that I have of Snape. But I'm with you. I think you actually would be. I mean, that's one of the most contentious questions in Harry Potter lore of whether people like Snape or not. And I feel like the majority of it, because most people are like, movie only, they all love Snape. They think he's the best. And really, people who have read the books are like, there's a little bit more behind the story than that. But I still don't hate him. I think he's a jerk. I think he's a bully. But the move with the buck teeth is a pretty nasty move on Hermione.
oh
I
yeah.
I hate that when Hermione runs away crying because the stupid teacher says that he sees no difference with her teeth when her teeth are literally like all the way to her
Yep. So there's I listened to a video one time about Rupert Grint and Alan Rickman, and
Mhm.
it says that Ron was drawing a bad picture of Alan Rickman as Snape, right?
Mm.
And Alan Rickman comes walking up behind him and catches him, and they're in character, they're on the set, and he catches him, and Ron, I want to say he's like, I felt just the shivers of like Snape there, right? Uh, and Alan Rickman took it and he kept that drawing, and he
No
loved it.
way.
Yeah, he loved it so much. He was like, "Yeah, I still have it," and River's like, "Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think he kept it. I think he took my picture, and I thought he took it because he was like mad at it, and I think he kept it." So,
That is
I mean, that's
so
Alan Rickman
cute.
for you.
I love Alan Rickman so much.
Yeah,
Alan, that's a
definitely.
that's a tough thing too. Like I love Alan Rickman just as like a human being and he's just a great actor. So when he's portraying Snape, I think he's a little bit too old. Even when they're doing the HBO series now, I'm like, I hope they do the parents and Sirius and Snape at the proper ages. Like everyone,
Yes.
Adam Driver is one of my favorite actors of all time, and everyone wants him in to play the role of Snape, but he's 10 years too old. So I'm like, I think you do it great, but I love Alan Rickman, but he was too old in the movies. But
Yep.
he's such a charming human being that it's like he portrays Snape, which you kind of hate, but I still just love that he portrayed Snape that well, you know?
Yep. Yeah. They definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who is your so you is Snape your least favorite character in the books?
No. Umbridge. Nobody likes Umbridge.
Yeah.
I don't like Umbridge. I
She's
can't.
the
I can't.
worst.
Book 5. I just can't.
Now, do you have a favorite character? Who is your favorite?
Uh, it's been a toss up over the last couple of read throughs. Um, I I I'm finding myself really really loving just McGonagall,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
and Jenny, um,
Yeah.
those two are just they're crushing it in the books all the time,
Yes.
and it just doesn't do them any justice in the movies. Like I mean, I do love that part where like I've got plenty of things to say to you,
Yeah.
but I just wanted more in the movies, but no, that books I love them. They're amazing. So
I know. That's a tough thing too, because Maggie Smith is such a great actress. I wish they gave her more of the lines in the books. Like the even like the have a biscuit line, Potter. That's like one of the best lines in the books, and they don't have that in the movies. They
I love
do
that.
they do have a few good lines in the movies that they give her. But I'm
Yes.
like, they could have given her so many more because she's so much more compelling in the books.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course, and then Jenny,
Yeah.
she's she's awesome. She's crushing it.
Yeah.
She's going hard for things, changing things. Amazing, fighting the good fight. And just an awesome person.
And
So,
then yeah, and then
and
movie we're left for like, are you kidding me? It
yes,
was
I
so
know.
bad.
Yeah.
She's like tying
Actually,
his shoelace. That's about it.
I think Bonnie, she's coming here to. I live in San Antonio, so she's coming here to Texas. I think to Austin, like in the summertime. So I'm like, I'm Austin to San Antonio, but I'm like, I'm going. I'm gonna
No
buy
way.
tickets. I'm
That's
gonna go
awesome.
just to go to her and get to say hi to her. So that's gonna
Yeah,
be cool.
that's the thing. Like, there are some actors in the series that I'm like, I don't think they did a great job portraying them. But if I met them in real life, I would love to just sit down and have a long conversation with them about like the whole series. Not even about like their acting choices, but like tell me about like your read with Harry Potter. That's what I care
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, I think so. I
yeah,
think so. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Bonnie's she's a cool person.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, the Ginny that was one thing that I hated when I was reading the series. Ginny was like the coolest. I was like a high school guy reading the series, and I was like, Ginny is like my dream. Like she's the best. And then all of a sudden, I get this movie depiction of her. I'm like, no, that's not it. That's like not who I was thinking of.
I think that happened to a lot of us, and I would
Yeah,
say it was the opposite. It was with Hermione.
yeah, oh yeah,
Obviously Emma Watson is just dreamy. I'll go
yeah,
with that one. But but again, watching the movies before they're started to become like the series was finished
hmm
before all that stuff. So as you grow up, like I'm growing up the same age, and
hmm
then just that was it. And then of course I get back to reading the books as an adult. I'm like, Jenny is awesome. She's
yeah.
crushing it.
I know.
It's like I want more Jenny.
Yeah, seriously, she's so cool. Same thing. Like, yeah, the depictions of book and movie characters is just fascinating. I want someone to do a deep dive into all those and pick out like, who really did the best. That's actually a curious question. Who
Ooh,
do you think did the best as far as an adaptation is concerned of book to movie?
that is a good question.
Cuz all of them had flaws in some way.
Yeah,
Honestly, Trelawney might be one of my favorites. She's wild.
definitely. I don't know. I'm gonna think about that one. I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna drop that in the Discord for
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
because that's a good question. Maybe I'll have
Yeah.
to read it all again
I
and
know,
then watch them
seriously.
all.
Everyone will reread the whole series and then we'll talk about it. Reread it and then watch it. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, do you have a favorite moments? It could be favorite moment in each of the books or just like a favorite moment altogether. What's your favorite moment in the whole series or moments?
Um, well, I love McGonagall in the movie.
Hmm.
The when she cast the spell for
Yeah.
all the statues to come down.
Pierre
Like
Totem Locomotor.
gives me chills every single time
Yeah.
I watch that one. I love that one. But um, I think it's just the connection that Ron and Harry have throughout the book. As they
Yeah.
keep grow and continue to get together. They're always good. Or of course, Fred and George. I mean, Fred and George are just awesome. So,
Yeah.
I think the first time I was reading the book, and even like the last time I read the book, when they get to the part, again, this is the only time I can say I like the book five, when they're lighting out the fireworks and just destroying everything. I love
So good.
that scene, and it's just so amazing, and it's awesome. So they just disrupt everything. They turn to Peeves and
Yep.
give him that challenge, and Peeves like, I got you guys.
Salutes him. It's the best.
I think that would probably be my favorite scene in the books, definitely.
That's one of my favorites too. And that's even one of the reasons why I like book 5 so much is because I'm stuck in agony for so long in that book. For like 3/4 of that book, I'm like, why can't we get something good that happens in this? And then all of a sudden, Fred and George leave in a ruckus and they like do all sorts of crazy stuff. That was one of my favorite chapters. I still love that chapter so much. Peeves saluting them is like ingrained in my brain for like how much he respected them and he carried on their legacy. It's so good.
Yeah,
Such a good moment.
I like that. Yep, definitely.
It's cool too because Fred and George are two characters that they were, and on my first few reads, I didn't give them a ton of thought. I always liked them. They were funny, but they weren't like primary characters to me. And in this reread right now, they're so interesting. They have such depth to them. They're so skilled in what they do. Like again, someone mentioned, I think in our Discord or our Reddit, how they would be so good in the Triwizard tournament, and I think about that all the time. They would have crushed it.
They would have. They
Yeah,
one brain together, but yes, they would have definitely done
yeah,
well. So
yeah. Now, if you're talking about like the progression of the books and how like they progress, do you have like one specific moment that you love reading about? Like, do you love the Quidditch chapters? Do you love like the Hogwarts Express chapters, Diagon Alley, just like them taking
I
classes? What do you like?
I love the world when
Mm,
they talk just about everything in the Wizarding world. Like I
yep,
would love to be like
I know.
your second. I think it was your the second season
Hmm.
friend that
Yeah,
okay. She was like, "This isn't real," and you're like, "Yes, it is."
yeah.
You know, it's like, "Yes, you gotta don't mess with me." I love it when they're reading about that. When they introduced Hogwarts, when they're going into Diagon Alley, they're
Hmm.
going into doing just exploring that portion. It's probably why I love playing the Hogwarts Legacy game.
Yeah.
Just I love exploring the world and just
Yep.
getting to see that stuff. And I'm like, come on, why can't that be real for me?
I
So
know, same. Legacy is for me. That's been the closest experience that I have to being able to experience the world. That's like my favorite part of the game is just walking around at Hogwarts and experiencing that, seeing even like the statues and seeing like the paintings, and they did it such justice. Like even to the
yes.
point where now I don't think of like the castle in my head or according to the movies anymore. I think it according to the video game because I think they did such a good job with the world building of that video game.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, that's just phenomenal.
Mm.
And what getting to explore the castle like that, like the theory when you're reading the books, like you're just imagining what you can and I don't think I ever was anywhere close to what it could have been possible,
Mm-hmm.
as a young kid. Watching the movies, great. They showed me what one fifth of what the castle is, and it was cool and all. But then it's like when you actually get to play that game too. Now you're like, oh my god, that's way more. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
what's this?
I know.
This is the kitchen. Oh my god, it's the kitchen. Like I love the kitchen.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so cool.
I get to tickle the prayer, and I'm in the kitchen now. This is amazing. So I think it's phenomenal. So
It really is so fun. I'm such a fan of just the exploration and that and how they built
yeah,
Hogwarts out.
definitely. So
Now you did give one hot take about your take on
okay,
Snape.
that's what it's hot take. Yep.
Yeah. Do
Okay.
you have any other hot takes on the series?
Off the top of my head, no. I
Yeah.
don't
Sometimes
think I
it's hard
do.
to come up with like good hot takes. The Snape one is a really, really interesting one. That one's always really controversial. I
Yeah.
remember, I think it was like the main Harry Potter Reddit. They had a shut down discussion on Snape for like a year because people were so contentious about that one. And I think they had a shut down discussion recently on um, the Marauders with James and Lupin for whether they were good people because people were just debating that and going crazy with that.
Yeah. They're boys.
Yeah.
As much as Gene wants to say the Marauders, they were just teenage boys. I will not even start on my backstory of my teenage years.
Yeah.
Uh, but I grew up in a rough area, in Colorado, and they were definitely nowhere near anything I was doing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're just boys. I mean, and that's again serious. Yeah, some people like him. I don't. I'm not a big fan of serious.
Yeah. Me either.
As just and I think we talked about it earlier. I think you were talking about it earlier. Would he be a good grandfather?
I know.
Or Godfather. With not going to prison, maybe. Not going to Azkaban,
Yeah.
yeah. But because he did go to Azkaban, that's who he is, and that's what we get. Um, but yeah, they're just kids
I
playing
know.
around. So
Yep. I completely agree.
yeah. So
Um, Now I have a final question, but do you have any other Harry Potter yearning things that you wanted to talk about that's been burning in you to talk about?
yes, let's see. I do. Yes, of course. Have you seen? I'm sure you have because you're a Hufflepuff. Have you seen Puffs,
No,
the musical?
I've never even heard of it.
You've never heard of Puffs, the
No,
live musical?
for who made this?
Um, I I
I'm
wish
looking
I
it up
could
now.
tell you. Look it up. That
Puffs.
and a very Potter musical. Have you seen those ones?
Yeah, I did like a live watch of the Potter musicals, and
Oh, okay.
they were
I love
so
those ones.
good.
I love those ones. I love those ones. Draco is the best in that one. I love it because she's just so funny,
Yeah,
because you don't
she
expect
is.
it to be a girl. She brings it in. But what's funny with those ones, we'll jump into the Harry Potter musical first.
Yeah.
There's a couple different ones, but the one when Voldemort's not there and they're playing the book 5 with Umbridge,
Mm-hmm.
and Umbridge is the guy who plays Voldemort on the back of that
Yeah.
dude, like walking
Yeah.
around. That's the same guy, the same character. I love it.
Yeah.
He's like, Dumbledore, did you get my calls? You
Yeah.
didn't get back. And it's just so funny because he's walking around, big old buff dude,
Yep.
this little pink outfit of a
Yeah.
girl. I love
That
it. But
that was my favorite was definitely I think the first one. I like the first one, and then I really like the third one. The second one was so difficult for me to like because the Umbridge was so disturbing. I was like, the guy played him so well, or played her so well. I was like, but it was yeah, this huge buff dude in this tiny little pink thing just walking around like he was on steroids the whole time. I was like, it was just weird for me.
I, I loved it. It was funny.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, actually at the beginning I was like, he looks familiar. He's funny.
Yeah.
Who is he? Finally, I was like, oh my God, that's Voldemort.
Yeah.
That's why you look. And then I was like, oh, this is a connection. I was like, this is so much better. So,
Yeah.
okay, but let's go into Puffs because
Yeah.
it's amazing. So, you can buy it on Apple TV, I believe, is
Okay.
where I got mine. It's on there. But it is a complete version of the Harry Potter story, uh, told through the eyes of the Hufflepuffs, the Puffs.
No
You know,
way.
yes. You got to watch this. Yes. And it does center around one guy, and I'm not gonna read the thing for you, but
Okay.
it is centered around one dude and his friendship with the Puffs and all of the characters there. Okay, Susan's in there, and oh, that's amazing. They're
This
all in there.
is
Cedric's in there. You are gonna cry. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna cry. Um,
I
you're
love
gonna
that.
watch it, and Harry is this because there's only like 6 or 7 people in it, and they play all the parts to it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the girl that's one of the girls, she jumps in and becomes Harry Potter when she puts on the
Mm-hmm.
glasses or something like that. So she's like, I'm Harry Potter, but she brings in Ron, and Ron is a mop. A mop with the red hair, and I can't remember what Hermione is, but she just carries these 2 little things, and that's Ron, Hermione, and Harry,
I
and it's
love
just so
that.
funny. Yeah, yeah, it's hilarious. I can't believe you haven't seen it. Okay.
I
Um,
know I haven't even heard of it. Like when I was reading the series, like I was obsessed. I didn't do a ton of like extra stuff after that. I didn't read a ton of fan fiction, but like when I started to get more into it, I did. And I always knew Potter musical was a thing, and I know new fans love that, but I've never even heard of Puffs.
it's good. It's funny. They have a chant. You know, and
Yes.
I don't want to make it bad, but it's like it's like we are not your enemy. Let's be friends or something like that. Please don't kill us, kind of thing. So it's hilarious. Give it a shot. It's funny. It's a good one. I loved it. It's right up the alley because then you're just like, I'm hearing it from a different side.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a huge musical fan, so I definitely have seen a lot of musicals and stuff. And then I was like, this is perfect.
Right
So
up your alley. Do you have a favorite musical?
yes, Rent. Rent's
Ooh,
a
yeah.
phenomenal musical. I had tickets to it. COVID hit and shut everything down. Uh,
No.
yeah, it was here in San Antonio. So I was going to that one, and then I didn't get to see it. But I have a lot of musicals. Let's just say that.
I grew up. Newsies is one of my favorite musicals. Used to watch that all the time. I love it.
Yep. Carry the banner. I love it.
Yeah.
And then again, I love even when they get to do movies of it, because
Mm,
nobody lives near New York. Well,
yeah.
there's people that live near New York, but I don't live near New York, and I don't get the opportunity to go there and see them. But when they brought that on there, and Christian Bale as a kid, uh, that movie was phenomenal. I was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
It's
So I
so
like the
good.
Newsies. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's interesting that you mentioned the whole idea with puffs too. One of my favorite videos of like extra stuff that Joe has said was she was giving an interview once, and she was talking about like the final battle, the Battle of Hogwarts, and she was talking about why all the students stayed, or like what she thought was the best house, or I think someone asked her like what she thought was the best house, and then she brought up the final battle at Hogwarts, and she said something like the Slytherins, they didn't stay. She's like the
nobody,
Ravenclaws were half and
nobody
half.
stayed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
none of them stayed.
that's
She's
crazy.
like, Ravenclaw, some of them stayed, some of them were like protecting themselves. She said the Gryffindors stayed for a very specific reason because that's a very Gryffindor quality. They want the glory, they want to like the moxie. They're courageous and brave and like brash. And she says like the Hufflepuffs, they stayed for a completely different reason. It was probably more out of loyalty to the castle, more out of loyalty to the school, out of loyalty to Harry. And I remember she said like her daughter once said that we should all want to be Hufflepuffs. And I remember after that interview being like, let's go. Hufflepuff's the best house. And we both of us know Hufflepuff's easily the best house, but I have
Oh
such
yeah,
Hufflepuff pride.
me too. I do. I love it. For the longest time, of course, I was like, the only thing I wanted to be was a Gryffindor,
Yeah.
right? Growing up, everybody, that's what I was. We talked about earlier. My 11-year-old self is definitely not the same as I am as a 37-year-old
Mm-hmm.
man. But when I was Gryffindor, I was Gryffindor, I was Gryffindor, and then I finally took the challenge on, you know, Pottermore back then. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was like, Hufflepuff, what the? And then I was like, there's nothing about Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
And like I'm going through the books again, reading. I'm like, okay, a couple characters. Wow. Yay. Okay, Cedric. Okay, yay. Oh, Cedric's dead. That's right. And just this sucks. But I mean, I embraced it definitely by now, and it's all over. It's my next tattoo will be a Hufflepuff, for sure. So yeah, I love it. It's just perfect. And I want to say Hufflepuff, and I, I I know it's in the play, and I think it's a play. I want to be precise.
Mm-hmm.
Puffs live off Broadway is what it is.
Okay.
It's a play more than a musical, but I mean, it's still got some fun stuff in there. Um, and I know it's in there. They talk about they're the first ones to stand up to want to stay, and I think that's in the books. I can't remember if it is in the books or not, but I
Okay.
want to say it is. But I mean, Puffs they Tough Puffs don't want to stay. They do. They want to stay and fight in the
Yep.
battle for a totally different reason, right?
Yep.
And so I loved it.
Is
So,
the musical a comedy or is it, is it just like very serious take on it?
no, definitely comedy.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, it starts off with a guy getting thrown a book. This is book one. Let's go through this, and he's like, "We are going to be here for the next 9 hours going through this," and he's like, "An hour and a half." Okay, we're going to have a very short explanation of this series. So it's funny.
Yeah, that
I mean,
I didn't know a Harry Potter musical was a comedy until I started going into it, and they started going. I was like, I thought this was gonna be like just a musical like drama or something like that, and I loved it so much because it was a comedy. They're so good.
it was good. I mean, Cho Chang, when they introduced Cho Chang,
That was so
they get
funny.
the they get the perfect sound of an Asian,
Yeah,
song going on, and then all of a sudden she's a white girl, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
oh, okay, well,
She's
let's
like
do
a
this.
southern white girl. She's like Texas. She's like, howdy y'all.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Hmm.
The series, how much are you looking forward to the series, and what are you scared about, or looking forward to, whatever? Yeah.
I I I'm very excited for the series. Um, for the reason that I don't think the movies portrayed a lot of the characters according to my head, and I do think that HBO is going to do it better than the movies. If I'm being honest, I'm nervous. I obviously have hesitations because the adaptations that they made of the movies just kind of messed a few things up, and I think the series is going to get massive flack from movie watchers, and my hope is that it doesn't get flack from book readers because everyone who's read the books is like, at least, I mean, not maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of people who have read the books are kind of excited for the series, and most of my friends who have only seen the movies are like, no way, no one could replace Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter. And I'm like, Daniel Radcliffe wasn't even a good Harry Potter. Come on, are you kidding me? Like, there's so many characters that they need to do justice
You could
for.
have said better than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Luna Lovegood.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I know. So
so
there's like things that I'm excited for. There's things that I'm very nervous and hesitant and like a little scared of. But I think all in all, I'm very excited for the series.
good. Okay. I am very I am very excited. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very looking forward to it. I will watch it day one if I can find a
Yep.
copy of it to watch before
Yeah.
everybody else. I will gladly go and rob a bank for that. Um, you know, and I want to watch it. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to love it. I I will watch B rated, C rated, do
Yep.
whatever
Oh
the
yeah,
worst budget root movies,
Yep.
but I'm gonna watch it no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm really worried that if they if they try to please the fans or
Yeah.
the watchers like they did with some of the movie stuff, I think it's gonna not be good.
I kind of
So
agree.
yeah, but I do want to ask you this question: would you be okay if they changed some of the stuff on it?
Mm. I
And maybe and let me ask you this: maybe this is the better way to asking it. If J.K. Rowling and fans, the proper, true fans, like let's take the brothers, Jay and Ben,
mm-hmm.
if they really put in some of that fan fiction stuff that we've always wanted
Mm-hmm.
to see, what if they changed it to where it fixed some of those questions we've always had, or the ones that we wanted to,
Yes.
address them? Would you be okay with that, or would that be one of those no, stick to the books?
No, I don't. I think the Lord of the Rings adaptation is one of the best examples of this. I don't know the original text of Lord of the Rings significantly well. I know it because I have a lot of friends who just talk about it. So like I know the text. Like even people in our Discord, when I was watching Lord of the Rings, I was watching the series and people were talking about the difference between book and movie. And that's an adaptation that's exceptional. And they changed a few characters for it. Like Aragorn's a typical character that people give because they say in the movies he's like as soon as you meet him, he's like king. He's like ready to be king. And in the
Oh, okay.
books, he's not. Or in the books he is like ready to be king. In the movies, he's not. He's a ranger from the
Okay,
north.
okay,
He's
that makes
still
more sense.
raw, he still like isn't really ready. And they say the same thing is true with Faragorn, Faramir, sorry. Faragorn. Faramir with the opposite. They say in the movies he's weak kind of. He like doesn't really value he like is tempted by the ring. In the books he's not at all. He's like I wouldn't even burn that ring
Oh,
within like 1,000 leagues of the city if I could. So they
okay.
have different characters, and I think that makes the characters more compelling in the movies, if I'm being completely honest. So I actually wouldn't mind them doing some of that stuff. Like I know like Draco doesn't get like a full redemption arc, but I actually wouldn't mind them incorporating some of that stuff. I would love if they incorporated um the Obscurio with Ariana Dumbledore and like had a full episode just devoted to that. Like give me I'm one of the things I'm maybe most excited about with the series is for them to do like one-offs of like episodes that seem like throwaways but are really like diving into something really significant, or like just like a little tangent about one character or like something else that's randomly happening that gives added depth to a character that really isn't in the
Yes.
books.
Oh, I would love for that. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. I think that would be awesome. Yeah.
What
It,
do you kind of hope that they make new additions to it, or are you like stick to the text?
well, so I didn't want them to.
Yeah.
I was strictly, I'm gonna stick to the books. Don't do anything. Don't change anything. Make it the books. Make it the books. Make it the books.
Yeah.
Make it the books. And then if you have Disney Plus, recently that Percy Jackson came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not read Percy Jackson the books. I've watched the movies, the
Mm-hmm.
old crappy movies. Apparently, they're crappy. I like the movies; they were
Yeah.
good for me. Uh, but I never. But I also knew they weren't nowhere near the books. I was like, one day maybe I'll read the books. But then the show came out, and I was like, oh, I'm excited for the show, and I did watch it. And of course, when I do something like that, I watch it, and then I watch, whether it be Super Cullen Brothers or the movie
Mm-hmm.
Flame guy who does like the
Yep.
reviews on it and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, uh, and he was talking about that. He was like, they changed some things in the book, in the show, from the book, but they made it better. They made it a little
Yes.
more stronger of a character. They made it more interesting of a character, or they did something that made it kind of fix some of those holes. He said,
Mm-hmm.
that like they were wanting. And I was like really interested in that. I was like, interesting. So again, I want to read it eventually, but I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool. I was like, if they do that with Harry Potter, I'd be okay with that. And I've been
Yes.
thinking about that a lot lately. And now I'm like getting excited for the show. And I'm like, if they do, then I'm okay with that. If it's going to be true fans fixing and not a
Yes.
random person who just wants to throw something in there, but a true like, hey, this is the voice of the people
Mm-hmm.
who want to watch this and see that this is what we do to this. Let me fix that properly, then I'd be okay with that now.
Yeah.
So I'm a change guy.
Yeah. Honestly, like this might be like a little crazy, but I have like a committee of people who I think are like uber nerd fans that they should go to. Like Binge Mode is one of my favorite podcasts in Harry Potter, and Mallory and Jason. Same thing with the Super Carlin brothers. Like if you put them on like a committee, to be honest, I'm like these people almost know the series and know what directions you should go in with the series more
Yeah.
than sometimes the original creator at this point. So I'm like, have them go just sit in a room and have them talk about different episodes and runoffs that they should do. This is, and I've said this on like different streams before, but the one thing I am jealous of the Star Wars world for Harry Potter because I love the direction that like I don't love everything that Star Wars does. You know, like
No.
Ahsoka is not like wasn't that great to me. Same thing, Kenobi was terrible to me. I was like couldn't deal with it. But
But
Andor,
Bad Batch was good.
Bad Batch,
Andor.
so good. Andor, phenomenal. The Mandalorian, 2 great seasons. The third one faltered a little bit. I'm hoping they resurrect it a little bit with a movie, whatever it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Like they're they're expanding the world I think in more interesting ways than the Harry Potter universe is expanding. And I want the Harry Potter universe. They like Harry Potter has so much money. I'm like give me more series on side characters. Like build out the
Yes.
universe. Like that's why I do like Fantastic Beasts because it built out the world a little bit and people hate that because it went against some canon, but I'm like I'm okay with
So
sacrificing some
I agree with
things to
you.
build it out.
I was okay with it too because it did it went further than I have seen. And I
Mhm.
got to go to America and check out our side
Yeah.
of things,
Yeah, yeah,
which is what I
exactly.
needed to see.
Yeah.
So I'd agree with you on that one definitely. So
Mm.
yes, how they do to Star Wars and they continuously grow into that universe and just go
Yeah.
further. Some things are good, some things are bad. Some things are going to change. The ones that are coming out very soon, we'll see
Yeah.
how that all goes. But if they can do that with Harry Potter, I would love. I mean, I know everybody wants the founding fathers. I would love for a show with that. That
Yeah.
is my number one drive.
Yeah.
I have seen a couple of the fan ones made on YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, the sisters, Black Sisters. I saw the Voldemort's origins when he actually goes back and stealing the cup and the locket and all that
Yeah.
stuff. That's phenomenal. The Gaunt family. I want that. I want that in the show. Like
Yep.
don't just mention the Gaunt family. Like let's do a whole free 2 day two series
Seriously.
two-part series. Show. Like hey, come back to be continued. I'd hate that. I would hate the to be
Yeah.
continued. Do that so that the next week I come back, I'm picking up where I left off at the Gaunt family to learn more about them. So
Yeah. Like a whole series on like the Unspeakables, even something that they do with like the Mandalorian. Give me like a series just on an Auror. Give me a series on the feats of like Mad Eye Moody and like all the things that he went through and what how he became what he became. I'm like that just like it's not, adding a ton to the universe, but it's just fun. And it's like you get a lot more information on Moody and he's like a lot more compelling of a character. That's the kind of
yeah,
stuff that I would love.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal. Like, that's a good example too because I think most people that watch the movies they fall in love with Moody because of Barty Crouch Jr. and the way he
Yeah.
portrays them. And
Yeah.
then we get Moody a little bit, in the next movie, and then when he comes to the final battle, I mean, and then the book a little more feeling something of him, but still the whole time of book 4, you fell in love with this character, and you're like, this is the best one. This is the best one. I mean, Lupin was great but this guy is like literally helping Harry learn, and it's amazing. Oh my God, this is phenomenal. And then you're like, oh, it's not him. Oh, it's
Yeah.
just
You're like
my
crap.
dreams. Let's just crush my dreams. All right. Well, I hope book 5 makes me smile again because I need to. And then you get
Yeah.
to 5 and you're like, nope, never mind.
It's so true. All your dreams are crushed, and then your dreams are crushed even more with Umbridge. The worst.
I was like, all right, bring back Barty Crouch Jr. as Mad Eye. I'll take him again, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
that is definitely the one thing I'm like excited for the series, but I don't want them to just keep doing things that are like Harry Potter books are like some of my favorite, but I just want them to expand the universe like Star Wars is expanding the universe. Half the time with Star Wars, I'm like, they don't even know where they're going with the series, but it's interesting because they're like just adding new components. They have so much they could add to it. And I'm like, Harry Potter can do that so easily, and they just aren't at the moment.
do you think they would ever go too far, such as the Marvel universe?
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. there's always like a healthy medium, and like Christopher Nolan to me is like a good example of this. Like when he was making the Batman movies, he was like, it's always going to be a trilogy. He's like, I sometimes if it goes beyond something like that, it's just gonna, you're just either trying to make cash, quick bits of cash from like fans. But honestly,
Yep.
part of me is like, okay, that's still fine. I still might disagree, but like I know some crazy big Marvel fans that they're like, whatever they pump out, even if it's terrible, I still love because it's adding to the universe. But I'm with you. Like sometimes Marvel, like where they're at right now, it just doesn't seem healthy. I don't really know the direction that they're going in. It seems confused and all over the place. So I think Harry Potter could definitely do that, and they can go in a direction where it's just like they don't even know what they're talking about now, and it just gets like annoying. But I don't know.
It's not even called Harry Potter anymore.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
well, they're still calling it Harry Potter, but they're so far away from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's Harry Potter, but in space.
Yeah, seriously, they're gonna get some weird stuff now. I know it's gonna be like that's like in the very Harry Potter musical. They're gonna talk about pig farts. Start talking about
Oh
pig
yes.
farts
Oh,
and
that's right.
on Mars or
Yeah,
whatever it is, or on the
on the
moon.
moon. True, exactly. Yeah. No, I think okay, that's a good then. Then there's a good medium. That's good to know.
Yeah,
So
but I just
I
want
love
more
it.
content about that. I just
Yeah,
yeah. So I'm excited
I
for the
would agree.
series.
Good. Okay, good. That's good to know. That's good to know. So
Any other Bernie questions you have before I ask my last one?
um no, but I'd like to say thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for the opportunity to uh, do this, and have your friends finally come together who have been skeptical of the
yeah,
series and never wanted to read them, to come together. And I'm very happy I found you. And I do wish, for those that don't know, uh, the Hall of Prophecy on the Discord, when I'm going through and I'm tracking all of those predictions, and I'm screenshotting them. Like literally,
yeah.
I'm I won't say that I'm driving because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm driving and I'm like, oh my God, that was a prediction. So I'm like quickly having to like drive and just find it on my screen. I'm like, okay, go back a couple seconds, and just take my phone and real quick go, ching, and I'm like,
I
okay, I'll
love
go back
that.
to around that area and I'll find somewhere around that area what the prediction was, and I'm writing them down. But I wish I would have known that and felt that. I think it was Kevin. I don't know who Kevin is
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this Discord yet, but I think he's the one that opened that page up. And it's funny too because the very first thing is this is for anybody who gets a prediction, right, or writes
yeah,
down a prediction. And my first comment was, "Oh, that's cool! I'm so excited for this." And his was like, "Let's keep this to a very minimum of only predictions." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to make anybody mad." And then now it's just too
it's
bad to
all
change.
you. It's the best.
But it's awesome because I'm on it and I'm writing them down and I'm like, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" And I'm
Yeah,
like, "They're so good," And Jen's, "Yeah, that Horcrux is his scar," and I'm like, "I'll take that. I'll take that. That's amazing."
that was a wild one.
Oh man, I love them. There's some good ones, and I'm just like, this is phenomenal. So I appreciate the opportunity to do this with your friends and tell them thank you for us.
Oh yeah,
Not me, but just us, because we're following this journey with them and we're loving it. And now you got your other seasons coming, which I'm excited to
yeah,
jump into also. Um, but having the ability just to expand their horizon or expand the universe of Hogwarts and Harry Potter for us, that the Wizarding World is coming to those that have never read it for the first time. And
yeah,
I am feeling that. I'm feeling the feelings they're feeling. And I'm like, I remember that feeling.
yeah.
I remember that. Oh, wait a minute. I know how he feels right now. Oh my gosh, I want to cry. So
Yep,
I say thanks.
same.
Thank you for that.
Well, thank you too for being like the archiver for all that, because that was like a when we were talking early on about this, we're like it would be so fun to have all the predictions, but we're like that's just so much work to knock out all the predictions, and all of a sudden this guy Chewy Badger just starts pumping them out, and we're like this guy's just a machine. So thank you for your archiving for all those, because that's gonna be so fun. We do like a whole podcast where we're gonna talk about all their predictions, and it's gonna be
Oh, good.
so fun to do all that.
We do need somebody to go back because I did miss the
Yeah,
books 1 and 2 and 3. So one,
yeah,
2, 3, and there's some good ones in there.
I know.
I remember 'cause I was like, why did it's funny too because I think it was there, and I was like, oh my God, that's an amazing prediction. I can't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, no, no, I can't believe they just figured that out, whatever it was. And I was like, oh gosh, I was like, and then we get to the part, I was like, what was that one?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm
You
so
just
far
lose
past.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was. I
yeah,
want to write that one down.
I know.
So
That's
hopefully
why.
somebody else can be behind us.
Yeah, um, it's a tough thing to archive all those, but I want to commend you for that. That was unbelievable. That was so good.
So thank you. Thank you. I still got to catch up on the last episode you aired.
I know. I when you were getting closer, I was like so happy that you're like with us now and we can end it. And you're at the best part too. Like we're like really when it's getting juicy. It's gonna be so good from this point on.
I was in book 4, and I was like, you were like, I don't maybe just getting to like the end of
Hmm.
the middle of Half Full of Prince. And I was like, there's so many predictions. I'm not gonna make it. I was like, and then I think I got into like book 5, and I was like, gosh, I hate book 5. Let's do
Yeah.
this, right?
You're like,
And
let's.
then skip there. And you were already in Deathly Hallow, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna catch up. I'm not gonna do any live reads. Oh, this stinks. But then I saw it like that light on there. I think it was on Discord. Someone was like, "Let's break up the chapters. Let's do chapter." I
Yeah,
was like, "Yes, please, please do," because that gives me opportunity to really.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, the
it was good.
slowness of the last book has been great for people to catch up. We have a few people who are binging it and they're like messaging me. They're like, please even slow down even more so we can catch up. I'm like, all right, we'll go as
I
slow as we can.
okay. As they're messaging, tell them, "Hey, I Cody, Chewy Badger know their pain, and they got this. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for them."
exactly, exactly.
So, yeah, that's good then. So
All right, my final question for you is just tell me what the Harry Potter series has meant to you in your life.
that okay, that's a good one. Yes, um, it honestly is. It's meant so much to me that it's like it just consumes my soul right now.
Hmm.
It's my focus on everything. My wife would say it's an obsession of mine. She's bought me the Lego sets and stuff as I'm building them.
Yes, that's the best.
Uh, and that's something she would never have done. She got the cup that was just for my for our anniversary. She
Mm,
was like, just got me some stuff, and I'm like, never would she have done that for me. But it's just so it gives me the ability to connect to people, right?
yeah.
To connect to the ones that are also just that passionate about me. Like, love my wife. She's an amazing, but she's in college still, and she's trying to go for a PA, and so she's very busy, and she doesn't want to talk about Harry Potter all the time, So I got it, but then I got this wonderful group of people that are just out there that have the drive and the same passion as me that want to talk about, like, yes, let's talk, let's
Mm,
do it, So it's just a phenomenal series, and it's a world that I think most people want to be a part of. You know, before the wizarding world of Harry Potter, the lore of wizards and witches and that stuff was always a fantasy and kind of
mhm.
out there, and it wasn't. I mean, it's definitely fun. It was definitely good. It was there. There was stuff there, but this has like brought a whole new level of that connection to people, right? And cosplay stuff now is out there like
Yeah.
crazy, and the wizarding, the Universal Studios places and the locations in England. And I love England, by the way. Just to let you know, there are so many great places there. I've been to the castle they filmed it at, uh, which was phenomenal. I was on a drive up to Scotland one day, and
Oh,
my buddy was like, the Harry Potter castle's over there. And I was like, go,
you're like,
go,
"Durr."
turn around if we have to. I don't care. Go back. We'll go to Scotland tonight. You know, but it just connects people to this world that's like
Yeah.
so far beyond just what somebody can imagine in one person. And it takes a group of fans to really honestly connect and be able to expand that world and just want to talk about it more and more and more. And that's I'd love it. It's everything right now. So
Yeah. That's just I'm like the same. Like the connection that this has brought me with people in my life and like just how it's like even just deep in my relationship with people has been so fun. And all the new people that I met too, even like doing this podcast and all the people in like the Discord and doing these tamale talks, it's like some of my most enjoyable stuff that I do because I'm on the podcast and I'm like having to shut my mouth for certain things. But this one I could just come and gush with people and we can just like connect over these books that this person wrote and we just like are obsessed with the series and we love it so much and we talk about all sorts of random stuff and it's like weird. I'm like I feel like I'm truly finding like really valuable friends doing this podcast and it's just been so fun to just connect with people that way. I love it so much.
that's awesome. Yeah, this has been phenomenal. I think whenever you decided this to do these tamale talks, man, that was the best idea.
Yeah.
Um, and so, because again, I felt your pain. I can hear it in your voice of how much you just wanted to. I can't talk to Danny and Jen. I can't
Yeah.
say anything. I can't say anything. So your Newt,
Mm-hmm.
book
Yeah, yeah,
club,
had to.
as you said it, coming from you, you said, I just want to be able to talk to others about the same thing I can't say to them. So I
Yeah,
just want to talk to people who have read it. So let's do that. And these Molly talks have been fun. I've been listening to them, talking to the people that are on, well, not talking, but
yeah,
listening
yeah.
to the ones that you talk to on there. And I'm just like, yes, yes. And then even hearing the stuff that's like random, like, you were talking to somebody about, hey, have you ever seen the In the Shadows show? And I
Yeah.
was like, I have, and it's just
It's
connections.
so
Like, wow,
funny.
we have a lot more in common.
Yeah.
Other people are like, wow, that's crazy. I'm sure somebody is going to listen to this one and be like, hear something that I said, and they're like, yeah, I love board games. I'm a nerd
Yeah.
just like that. So it's just a way to connect people to just be in a world full of just awesomeness,
Yeah.
love and cool, great people just to be around and want to talk to, So definitely.
It's the best. I love it. Couldn't say it better myself. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all your archiving. Thanks for hanging out with me and chatting about Harry Potter. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, y'all.
All right.
So
Have a great one.